I don't think fame should be the goal, honestly. Like I don't think it's as fulfilling as people would think.
Lovers, welcome back to another CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me, Luthfi, and my guest today is a singer and songwriter who always plays smooth, chill, and atmospheric tune in his music. Like, it can make you relax through the tired days, and I mean it really. Like, I listen to his music before sleep, and somehow it relax and soothe my mood and soul before rest. Like, oh my god, this is kind of special things for me because I really discovered this artist recently, but a lot of his discography is so nice and it's so relaxing. I think in my Spotify playlist I picked the wrong playlist. I think I think I've got a sleep playlist and his music came, but he's got viral too. It's kind of strange things that this kind of music things kind of viral, but let's talk anyway with my guest today. This is Gatton.
Hey, I love energy, by the way. You have the best energy.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
It's the best. Yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. So how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's actually nighttime here, so I'm kind of winding down at the end of the day. But I'm doing good. It's been kind of a crazy whirlwind, really busy season of my life, but it's been all incredible, beautiful things. So I feel very grateful.
So before we start this interview with many questions, like, can you describe about yourself to our viewer?
Yeah, totally. So I'm from Florida originally, and I went to school in Tennessee, and then I just moved here to Nashville recently. I've sang my whole life. It's always been my thing, but I didn't start writing music until it's been about 4 years now. And I remember kind of the beginning of my songwriting journey. I had gone through this really painful season of my life where I lost a lot of different people. A lot of relationships have meant a lot to me, and I lost some opportunities, and ultimately, like, I just lost myself. And so I was looking to make sense of the pain in some way and to heal through everything. And so that's when I started writing, was in 2018, actually. And that's when I wrote one of my first songs I ever wrote was When Scars Become Art. And that was like kind of it became the anthem of my artistry, which is like to make something beautiful out of every painful situation, to find art out of every scar. And so that's kind of my overall like brand, I would say, is like inspiring other people to realize the option they have to choose resilience.
So why you choose art to emphasize in this song? Because art is very abstract, and it's a very very wide things. It can mean everything, and still now until now it's hard to describe what is art, I think. But why you choose art into this song? Because I think it's a strange title. I think like When Scars Become Art, it's like a rhyme, but it's kind of a unique title for a song. Even I didn't know the context of the song. It's still unique, I think.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I would say,
thank you.
Yeah, I think that music is my art form. So to me, art is, like you said, it's so abstract and it's so broad. There's so many different forms of art. But I do think that to me, like the title When Scars Become Art is broad enough to where I want people to recognize that we all have the option to make any type of art from our pain. And so that could be painting, that could be, journalism, or that could be some type of like philanthropy, or whatever it is, like whatever your art form is, you have an option to make it beautiful out of like the painful situations that you've been through. So I think art for me is like so complex. I'm also a creative director. So I do a lot of different creative directing for like some magazines and jewelry companies and clothing companies and all that kind of stuff. So I do different art forms, and I work with a lot of photographers. And so for me, it takes more than just music. Like I'm an artist in a lot of different capacities. But yeah, I think that like the overall, I guess, brand and all that I stand for is like to just inspire other artists, whatever it is to like make something beautiful out of their pain.
Wow, I didn't thought about the creative director background on yours. I think it's like a very unique thing. Like you're a creative director of a brand, but you know I think like you've deal with art. It's so much dealing with art, but you know what the background, the creative director background that you take that you can integrate to your music.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part?
So what the kind of like you have a creative director background.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, but and how can you integrate that into your music career? Because I think you know it's like kind of a similar career, but it's kind of different.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I am part of like I kind of have two different brands that I really stand for, two different like statements, mission statements almost that kind of represent me. So one is when scars become art, is that we all have the option to choose resilience, and then the other one is to portray this concept that we as human beings are more the same than different. So in everything that I do creatively in my creative directing, I do a lot of different photo shoots with big groups of people that are like from all different walks of life, whether it's like singers, widows, therapists, counselors, dancers, professors. I get them all in one room and I do this big photo shoot. They're all strangers and I put them all in the same color. And I'm always trying to portray the concept that we are more the same than we are different. And so that is like kind of what I try to portray in my art too, is that like I hope people can see their stories in mine and recognize like they're not that different and we're not that different as human beings. We all want the same thing. We all long, basically, if you break it down, as human beings, we all long to love and to be loved and to belong. That's all we want. And I think because we don't get it sometimes, we chase after the wrong things or we push and shove people away. But at the end of the day, like we're the same. We want the same thing. It just manifests in different ways. And so I think if you can really grasp that concept, then things like empathy and forgiveness can become so much easier because you realize like, oh, this person that hurt me wants what I have. They didn't know how to do it in a kind way. And for me, that's changed everything. I've really like recognized the beauty in humanity and how much we really are so interconnected. So I try to do like a lot of different, all my visuals on Spotify and everything on Instagram, they're all like part of my creative directing. And I try to marry the two worlds, like creative directing and music. I try to somehow make them mesh and interlace them a little bit. But yeah, it's still a challenge.
I think it's like kind of like I didn't know the song When Scars Become Art is becoming so a conceptual song for you, because you know I think it's like it's the first song that you released. Am I right?
Yeah, one of the first. Yeah, it was like one of like two or three. Yeah, so it was one of the first songs I ever wrote.
But you are very conceptual with it. Like I didn't know it's getting, talking with you about the When Scars Become Art. I didn't know that the song is very, very conceptual. Like I think like this is a concept song, not just an ordinary song about scars and art. I think it's like a concept song.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it tells a really specific story, and so it's interesting because like at the end of, I kind of left it like open ended so that a lot of different people that have different stories could see their story in mine. But you know, at the very last verse of the song, it says, "Now how will I move on? You taught me how to love again, and now you're gone. And how will I bear the pain? I guess for now I'll leave these flowers here at your grave." So that insinuates that whoever I like fell in love with died. For me specifically, it was a metaphor, so it's not real. Like the person that I knew died. Like whoever they were once, they just completely changed and they were no longer who I knew them and who I fell in love with. So for some people though, they've lost, like certain loved ones have died. And so they can see their story in mine. But for me specifically, it was a metaphor of like, I lost the person that I once knew and they just changed so much so they were unrecognizable. But yeah, I think the song is like, to me, it's so much more than just a song. It's like it's a story that it's kind of, it's like an anthem. It's like my mission statement. It's everything that I stand for is like cultivating art out of my scars. And so that's like why it's so meaningful to me. And I think why a lot of people have clung to it is because they recognize like there's a deeper meaning beyond just like the one story.
And it surprisingly got viral.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, so I came out with the song in 2018, so it's been 4 years now, and which is just crazy. And then I posted it multiple times on TikTok before, but I posted it in January. I guess it was at the end of January. So it's been like a month and a half, maybe. And I mean, Southeast Asia went wild, just crazy. I mean, I was like blown away. And I mean, it genuinely changed my life. I would say, I think it was right before I posted it, I had like 140,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Yes.
Now it's like over 1.2 million
What?
in like a month, which is just, I mean, it's like, I don't even say it lightly. Like Southeast Asia has changed my life completely. Changed my life. I'll never be the same. It's crazy. It's just wild.
But I think it's kind of wild things to do because I consider this song isn't like an artsy one. I think it's like an art pop for me because you say that art in your title and the song has a conceptual meaning, and you talk with many people to create one song, just one song. You talk to many people to get the perspective of this song was, and somehow it's got viral. I think because fun fact in Southeast Asia, we kind of like the song, like when scars become art, it's kind of like Southeast Asia song, the acoustic beat, like the love song, like this, like I think people in Southeast Asia perceive this as a love song. But when I talk to you and when I know the story about this song, it got a deeper meaning behind it.
Yeah, I know. I think it is interesting because I think, it's funny. A lot of people will comment on my TikTok and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this for my wedding. I'm going to have this in my wedding song, which I think it would be like the chorus of it would be a good wedding song. But then they're like, they go to listen to the full thing and they're like, oh, this is like such a sad, deep song.
Yeah.
Like the ending is like such a plot twist. So it's funny because people are like, well, now I can't use it in my wedding. And I'm like, well, you can use the chorus, but it's definitely got like there's ebbs and flows and it tells a whole story. I'm actually, funny enough, I'm singing one of my best friend's weddings in a week. I'm singing that song. They asked me to sing When Scars Become Art. So I know a lot of people that have used it in their wedding, but it is like, I think people think it's a love song right at first, but there's a lot more to it for sure.
I think the many greatest hits like that play on the wedding. It's like every breath you take by the Police, like. Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy song. It's like a creepy song, but it turns out to become a wedding staple, I think. And it's
it's ironic. It's very interesting how that works. Yeah.
So, when you got viral on TikTok, how do you feel about it? How do you feel like you suddenly, like you say that you've got only a few listeners on Spotify, and right now you've got 1 million listeners on Spotify? What kind of change, I think, like the kind of like you viewing your music or anything?
Yeah, I think that, honestly, at the beginning it was really overwhelming. Like I was surprised at how I handled it because it is an exciting thing and it's amazing and it's so worth celebrating. But I think it was so quick, like I couldn't even keep up. It was just like my whole life changed, and I was in like 10 Zoom calls a day, and I was being interviewed by stuff like this. Yeah, whether it was like interviews or like talking to labels, like everybody was just reaching out and wanting to be a part of it, whatever, which was amazing. But I was so like, I felt like I was being pulled in 1,000 different directions and I didn't know what I wanted. And it was like I've worked so hard for this, and I really have like dedicated my life for the past 4 years for this. But when it comes, you're still not fully ready. Like it's still like, wow, this is like a lot. This is exactly what I dreamed of, but it's still a lot. So I think for me, like at first it was overwhelming, and now I'm just like deeply grateful. I mean, I'm truly blown away by how loving like the Philippines and Indonesia and Malaysia a little bit, like so many different people have just like clung to like my art, and it just is so beautiful because I think that I think that there's connection that comes from music. I think music binds people together in some way. And it's interesting, you think of like it's a bunch of strangers in a country that I've never been to, and somehow we have a connection. Like there is some sort of connection between us, honestly, because I've heard apparently that I was talking to somebody recently from the Philippines. I think that said that the Philippines considers themselves to be the most resilient country, and so they've like overcome a lot of different adversities, and they just like are So that's, I think, like a pretty common concept in my art. And so I think that that's like maybe one of the reasons why they like clung to my stuff. But it's beautiful. Like it's just blown me away how
Wow.
supportive people are. I've been very touched for sure.
Wow. Like I think like your music connecting to many people, but I think like you're a smart guy. I think like you're a smart guy. Like it is kind of love song. If you I think it's a smart it's a smart move. I think in my opinion, like you take the chorus and it become love song, but if you know the whole context, it becomes sad song. Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's a lot of my music is that so like that's what people clung to at first was just the chorus. So if you just hear the chorus, it doesn't be a love song, but it is such a story. So it's like the beginning is like, how will I trust you? You taught me, or I was told I didn't deserve love, whatever. So it's like starting out like, should I trust you? Should I not? Because in the past, people have told me that, I'm not worthy, whatever. And then it's like slowly letting go and you're like learning to love again and you're trusting someone again in the chorus. Like the chorus is basically like a vow. It's like honestly like a wedding vow. Like I want to love you for good or for bad, when it's sad and when we fight, and I want to love you for good or for bad, when you make me mad because you're the love of my life. And then the bridge is like, take my hand. I want to do the rest of my life with you. Like I don't want to do anything else but just be with you. And so it's like this journey of navigating, like falling back into love. And then at the very end, it's like kind of just the person proving exactly like, it's kind of a full circle moment. So at the end, it's like, you proved exactly what I was afraid of at the beginning. I was afraid to trust you in the first place. And I was afraid to like let myself love again. And then I did. And then you proved to me that I couldn't. So it's like a full thing.
Oh, it's an epic one. It's an epic conceptual one. Wow. Still. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Speaking more about your music, I found something interesting that you always add a sound effect like waves, sea, and bird chirping in your song. Like, why?
Yeah.
Because the funny things, because of that sound effect, I listened to your I honestly, I've just made up this question list in midnight, and I'm amazed that it is the right time to hear your music, because it makes me chill and it makes me relax. Like, wow, what it's I think honestly, I think it's like maybe just like a folk singer, but you add the chirping sound, you are at bird chirping, sea. Why you do that? Why? Just why? It's so relaxing to me.
Yeah. It's definitely very intentional. I think that, so when I first started songwriting, I went to this conference. It was a songwriting conference, and one of the women that was speaking there was a really popular songwriter, and she said that you should cultivate songwriting as a mindset. So everywhere you go, every song that you listen to, every movie that you watch, every conversation you have, every hike you take, every park that you go to, every beach that you go to, there's a song in it, and it's up to you to find it. And that changed my life. Like I realized, like I'm always songwriting. Like everywhere that I go, I'm writing a song in my head. I'm taking notes. I'm observing different conversations. I'm looking at the sky. I'm just like pretty aware of everything around me, and I'm always in a constant mode of songwriting. So for me, where I songwrite the most is in nature. So on hikes, if I'm hiking in the mountains or if I'm at the beach, that's where I'm like, coming up with the lyrics and different things. And so that's where I feel most at peace, and I feel most myself. And I feel like I can be fully authentic in nature, because there's no social anything. There's no media. There's just like pureness, and there's like a rawness about it. And so that to me is where like some of the most like reflective times come, is just in nature. And I wanted to portray that in my music. I want people to kind of escape with me and to go to the same place that I was when I was writing and discovering these things. So like Waves is one of my songs. And obviously like the title in itself is Waves, but the whole song is just like kind of navigating through like just an ocean full of hurt and grief and sorrow, and how like in reality that ocean like made me the strong person that I am today. Like at one point I was lost in it, but then I learned how to swim. So I want people to feel that, and I want them to hear it, and I want them to feel like they're surrounded by an ocean, because I feel like that's important too.
and then you adding like some maybe like some female vocalist on it, like
Yeah.
it's like kind of like complementing each other, and it's like
Yeah.
it's make the the very level of soothing, it's pumped up to the maximal. I think like what, like when I hear one of your many songs that including female vocals, like wow, I think I think this guy can be more soothing, but he pump up the volume, to make it more soothing and more relaxing, I think. And it's kind of
Oh,
it's kind of a good trick. I fall for that one. It's a good trick coming from you, I think.
I love that. Yeah, I do. I have some really like, I went to a music school.
Oh
So like
wow.
I have so many best friends that are like
Mm.
the most incredible singers, and they have such different styles, and I really like to highlight my friends. Like I really want them to feel appreciated, and I want to put them out there as much as I can. And so yeah, I've incorporated some people that I like really am inspired by in my life. And yeah, I love the blending sometimes of like a
Mm.
male and a female vocalist, and I feel like it just tells a different story in some ways. So yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, because I think like this song is like a kind of strange, like honestly, I think it's like like another indie, like another folk pop singer that trying to be like more mellow, like more mellow, more better. But you add atmospheric things, which is very cool, which is very like you kind of I think like when I hear this song, like this artist kind of trick me, like very trick me. Why I can sleep better at night when listening your song, like what is it, like kind of miracle? But I think it's kind of hard. I think it's kind of hard. It's very hard consistent consistent to make music like this. It's very hard, I think, because you
Mm,
must concept everything before making your music, and it's a tricky process, I think, to make atmospheric music like this.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I Yeah, I think it is. Like I think it was really hard for me at the beginning because it's really vulnerable. Like the things that I'm singing about are like just the depths of my soul, and it's some of the most like painful, vulnerable things about my life. But I think that that's why they've worked, is because I think that it's the I try to journey in the places that a lot of people avoid, and so I try to just go in the depths of, yeah, of hurt and sorrow and heartbreak, but also the joys, and like finding the balance of both. But I do think that, yeah, it's been an interesting like journey to find my sound and find like what I have to say. And yeah, I think like I heard once, I think it was Toni Morrison, she's an author,
Mm,
and she said that she wrote the books that she would want to read.
mm,
So that's what I try to do in music, is that I'm like, I'm writing the songs that I want to listen to. So sometimes I don't feel like there's like a lot of songs that I'm like inspired by in a certain season of life or whatever.
mm.
So I'm like, I want to write the songs that I want to listen to and that I would be like moved by or at peace with or whatever. So I try to keep that mindset a lot.
And it's kind of tricky to convert your painful into the fearfulness and making art. It's kind of tricky. How you cope that with that one? How you convert that?
Yeah, it is. I think that for me now, it's been so healing. It took me a while to like get comfortable with it, but it's been so healing to watch other people like reach out and be like, I've been through this. I totally understand where you're coming from. Thank you for writing this. Like I found so many people have said like, I feel like I've gotten over this person because of your music, or I've been able to heal from this pain, or I've been grieving this person, but now I've like learned the beauty that I can make out of it. That's just inspired me so much to like keep going. And I do think that I have something to say. Like I'm very passionate about the resilience concept. And I think that to me, resilience is a superpower. I think it's like the I'm blown away. First of all, humanity in general, just human beings are fascinating to me. I think we're just the most interesting creatures in the world. But I'm specifically blown away by the fact that we not only overcome adversity and pain, but we become better because of it. Like there is an option to not only overcome and survive, but to thrive and to make something really beautiful out of that dark place. And I'm so passionate about that. I want other people to get on board with that and realize like this is an option. This is like, it's so possible for every single person. It looks different for everyone, but if we could just recognize that we have an opportunity to make something really, really beautiful out of the pain, then I think that that can heal a lot of the world.
Damn, that's an answer. That's an answer. That's a very, very answer. Oh my God! Never. I think my takeaway after this interview, like, don't ask a creative director a deeper question, because you know it can be like this. You know, I'm working in the creative type of area, but you know, creative director is always an interesting job for me. And wow,
Yeah.
you can integrate that with this music, with your music. Oh wow, I just gone away with this answer.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I've said, like, beyond all of my titles, what I consider myself to be is a gatherer. So I've always said, like, I want to gather souls together. I want to gather people together. So in my creative directing and my music and everything that I'm doing, I know I'm an artist, but I am a gatherer first. And I want to gather people together and help them recognize how beautiful it is to be in community and to open up our vulnerability. And yeah, if there's one takeaway I could want people to get, it's that I long to gather souls together in the art that I create.
I think, wow, that's an answer. I think that's an answer. It's still such an answer that you give to me. I didn't know. It's like a deep talk, very, very deep talk for me. It's a long time.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, exactly. So mention albums that really changed your life.
Oh, wow. I would say 21 by Adele was one of my favorite albums of all time. I think that Someone Like You is my favorite song of all time by Adele. Because and I think I think she's inspired me a lot. You probably can see a little bit of that in my work, but
I see that.
she is she's a storyteller. She just, like, takes you to a place, whether or not you've experienced what she's singing about, you feel like you've been there, because she just takes you to this place that is so deep and vulnerable and painful, but you just get lost in it. And she just tells a story, and all she does is just stand there and sing. She doesn't perform, she doesn't dance, she doesn't have background dancers, nothing. She just stands there and sings and blows you away. And that's the kind of artist I want to be. I want to tell a story, and I don't want it to have to be about all the outfits and the background singers and background dancers. I just want to tell a story. I think it's sometimes, like, really beautiful to just be simple. And so, yeah, I think 21 was, like, a really life-changing album for me. I think it really, like, showed me the possibility to create similar art. Another album, I love Yeba. I don't know if you've heard of Yeba before.
Yes. I've heard it.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. And her and I have some mutual friends. I haven't met her, but we have some mutual friends. And I just think she's absolutely mind-blowing. I think she's so interesting and innovative, and she tells so many stories within her music, and she's very raw. Yeah, I'm just really inspired by vulnerability, and I'm inspired by people that are brave enough to open up their hearts to the world, because I think it's one of the hardest things you can do. But I think that when you do it, it's one of the most life-changing things.
I see your influence right
Oh,
there.
yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. I feel like Adele for sure people see. Yeah.
So mention 5 things we didn't know about Gatton.
5 things that you don't know.
It can be everything. Your favorite music, your favorite movie. It can be anything.
Okay, gotcha.
First,
I'm a very private person, I would say. It's funny because I feel like my art and, like, my music is very vulnerable and open, like I said. But in my life, I'm pretty private. I don't share a lot on social media. Like, I share, like, good pictures and all that stuff, but I don't talk a lot about myself. I don't really feel like I need to. I want the art to speak for itself. So I'm pretty sparingly with what I say. I don't say a whole lot, but I say all of it. I keep it from my music. So I would say I'm private is the one thing. What are some other things? I was really bullied when I was young. That's one thing I don't really share. Yeah, I think I was, like, really, really bullied, and I think that really formed, like, a compassion side of me. I feel like there's this whole concept of, like, you can either be bitter or better.
Yes, same thing.
And I just saw like that oftentimes the person that's bullying you is the one that's hurting the most.
Yes,
So I
exactly.
think that for me, like I've recognized through the people that have not been great to me, how like I just always want to be kind. Like if there's one thing I can be, I hope that it's kind. I want to be kind. So there's that. So I grew up in Florida. So every day after high school, I went to the beach. That's another fun. Went to the beach every day. That was always really fun. I went skydiving for my 18th birthday. That's a fun fact.
Wow.
That was really fun. Yeah, it was very like, it honestly was not as scary as I thought it would be, but I think the adrenaline just really kicked in and I got really excited. But it was like, I think we're 14,000 feet up in the air. And I just jumped straight from the plane. And then what's a fifth one? You know what's really funny? I don't like concerts. It's like so ironic. I know. I don't like going to concerts.
Why?
It's crazy.
Why?
And no one gets that. So like I said with Adele, like if I really, really like an artist, then I'll go, but I don't enjoy concerts. It's the weirdest in the world. It's just too, I don't know. It's like, it's so overwhelming to me for some reason. And it's like the worst thing to be an artist that doesn't like concerts. But if I like the artist, then I'll go. But yeah, it takes a lot for me to want to go to a concert.
I think this is a, I think you are very a unique artist. This is the first time that I mean it. This is the first time I really talk about a unique artist that when I interview with many artists that get viral on TikTok, they want to write the fame. They want to write that viral things, but when I talk to you, you didn't give a shit about it. You didn't give a shit about the viralness of it, and I think it's kind of unique for me because you have a private life, as you said before, and you have and you didn't get a lot of concert. I think it's kind of unique because I think it's one of a kind. I think talking to these artists that get viral on the platform. I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that I don't care about fame. Yeah, I don't. I definitely used to think that that's what I wanted. And I think I've recognized that there's so much more to life. And, like fame may come, like that could be part of like my journey, but that's not the goal anymore. Like to me, if fame is the goal, then I think once I get there, I'll be really disappointed because it's empty. Like, I don't think that there's as much fulfillment as you would expect. And you've tasted a little bit. There's been certain things where I've realized like, I have more of a listening base now and I make full money off my music and I've like honestly achieved a lot of the dreams that I had for myself. And that's not the fulfilling part. Like it's the connection and it's the like inspiring other artists to pick a pen up again. And it's inspiring like other writers to write again. And for me, it can't be the fame that's the goal. I definitely think like I think I'll always live a life that's impactful, but that's not like the ultimate goal. I think my goal is always just to, even if it's just one person, to inspire a discouraged writer to pick up a pen again, and just to kind of connect human beings and to remind everybody of our shared humanity. I don't think fame should be the goal, honestly. Like I don't think it's as fulfilling as people would think.
Oh, thank you for this interview. I think I think it turns out to be like a therapy session. I think I think it's like in the deep talk about your art, and I think like I found what's your art meaning to you. I think on this whole interview. Thank you so much, Gatton, for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Tell me your name one more time.
Luthfi.
Luthfi, yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Luthfi. This was a blast.
This was a blast too, because I didn't expect, like, it kind of like a noisy social media here right now, and you got viral on TikTok, but you didn't want to get through jumping into that very, very fondly. And I think it's like it makes you an art itself. I think you embodiment of an art itself, I think. because
Oh,
you know
thank
art
you so much.
doesn't care about it's getting famous or not. And
Yeah,
I think I found it is today. So thank you very
thank
much for this
you so
interview.
much.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much for this interview.
Yeah.